way that you're going to get those signs to really mean something is to have an active community watch or neighborhood watch. And to do that, there's just some simple steps. One is get organized. Talk to your neighbor. In today's environment, we don't talk to each other. We've got people in just a small community we have in Sterlington that live there that we have went to speak with about a neighbor, and they weren't even aware of what their neighbor's name was. And that's a little bitty community of Sterlington. So I can just imagine what kind of problem you have in a large city like Monroe. How many people actually know their neighbors? You have to get to know your neighbor. Now, community watch or neighborhood watch can get kind of, you have to really know what you're talking about. And I'll give you an example. A little old lady calls the police department and says that her neighbors are doing some very inappropriate activities and making sounds in their backyard, and it's in her view, and it's very wrong, and she wants it stopped. So the police show up, and she takes them to the backyard, and to their amazement, what they're looking at surrounding her backyard is an 8-foot tall, solid privacy fence. Not even no little gaps in it. This thing is solid all the way through. The officer's looking around, and he turns to say something to her, and she's gone. He sees her coming back around the house, and she's got 2 milk crates. She's walking up, and she's telling him, if you stack 10 milk crates right there, and you get up, you do that, you can see. That's not neighborhood watch. That's being a busybody. And a lot of times, people feel that's what neighborhood watch is about, is spying on your neighbors. That's not what it's about. It's about taking care of your neighbors. It's about when I go to town, when I go on vacation, I know for a fact that anyone comes up to my house, knocks on my door, rings the doorbell, someone's going to see that person, and someone's going to jot down a driver's license or a license plate of a vehicle. It's very important to do that. We have solved at least 2 or 3 car vehicle burglaries in Sterlington because of our neighborhood watch. Because of someone calling us and letting us know that there's a strange vehicle in the neighborhood. They give us a description of it. We come out, we find it, shut it down, and it's full of stereo equipment or GPSs or cell phones or the like, and it is because of them doing car burglaries, and because of that neighborhood watch. That call is the reason we solved those burglaries. That's happened 2 or 3 times since we've got this thing started in only a 2-year period. And we don't have a whole lot of people on the neighborhood community watch. It's about 6 active members, I guess you'd say, for the whole town of Sterlington. And that's not a lot. You should really, if you've got 20 houses in a neighborhood, you should have, it'd be nice to have 10 or 15 of those 20 house neighborhood to be involved in your neighborhood watch. And to get the thing started, you have to have somebody in that particular neighborhood who has the time and has the gumption and the ability to go talk to folks in that neighborhood and say, hey, let's get a neighborhood watch together. And have a meeting, have them come to that person, have them come to their house, put on a dinner, kind of get a feel for the neighborhood, for the community in that area, if they're interested in doing it. And if they are interested in doing it, then you take the next step. And that would be to get with your local law enforcement. You want to go and sit with Chief Holmes and as a leader of your neighborhood that's interested in this neighborhood watch, and tell Chief Holmes what you want to do. Because they have training abilities to where they can actually take citizens and put some training on them as far as what to look for, how to go about, what's suspicious, what's not suspicious. Don't stack milk crates up to look over a fence, but what is it that is out of place that should not be there, and to recognize that and what you do and how you handle it. One thing you never do in a neighborhood watch is you never confront someone who's suspicious, ever. You don't want that person to know that you know that they're there. You want to be like a shadow. You want to be able to see and give that information over and then let it be handled. You don't want that person to have seen you and say, I know that was the one who turned me in. And then they come and terrorize you, because if they terrorize you, then everybody else who is in the neighborhood watch, and they see that they're no longer in the neighborhood watch. Out of sight, out of mind. Just leave me alone. Do what you're going to do. That's not what it's about. You want to protect your neighbor, and you can do it very anonymously. If you call us or any police department, if you say that you see a suspicious vehicle over at your neighbor's house, I guarantee you, the police, when they show, they're not going to go over and make contact with this individual and say that that house right there called and said, you look suspicious. They're not going to do that. But I know it's a big fear. All the time I'm told, well, I didn't call because I didn't want them to know it was me. I think too much TV, they do that on TV. You know, they bring the complainant in and make them part of the drama. That's not how it works. You can call, you can be anonymous, we'll handle it, and you're never brought in. Because when we make contact with these people, these criminals, the evidence, the stuff they have with them, their testimony, just the circumstances will be enough to get an arrest or a conviction without you having to say anything. I know a lot of times with Community Watch, people just, oh, I just lost my train of thought. It just went right out the window. Dr. Armstrong was kind enough to make me a guideline here. And, okay, one thing he put here that was kind of really got my attention was the do not open doors for anyone you don't know. There's a scam that's going, it's in the past, it's happened. You're in your house, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you hear your water outside come on. Someone's turned your water on. What's your first instinct to do? Run out there and go check your water. Well, that was just an invitation for a home invasion. They didn't have to knock on your door or anything. They get you outside, they come in. Anything out of the ordinary like that, you want to make sure that you're very mentally prepared and physically prepared to go take care of what you're fixing to go outside and do at night. Crying babies. They can have a recording of a crying baby. Any parent hears a crying baby, you're going to rush, whether it's your child or not, you're going to rush out to what you've heard. And that could be something to pull you out. I mean, these criminals can be very intelligent and very slick in the way they get what they want. Once you establish, or someone establishes that they want to be the leader in the community, in the neighborhood, to get this thing going, you want to get with the police department, invite the police department, invite a representative of the police department over to one of your meetings. Let them see what you've got. You've got different levels of community watch. You've got where just the whole neighborhood's involved, where everybody's watching for each other. And you can even go a step above where you can actually have a community patrol, where you have a vehicle that you can actually put stickers on it that has the acronym or whatever what the community patrol is called, and it actually patrols the neighborhood. Now, whoever is going to head these things up in the community, they need to understand that you just cannot let anyone jump in those cars with a sticker and be on community patrol. Because that right there is an invitation for a predator to use that sticker on the side of his vehicle to check out when you're on vacation. And he pulls up in your driveway and the neighborhood watch sees a community patrol vehicle, well, they just think he's doing his patrols. And he's telling his buddies or whatever that you're not home and they can go in. So you got to be, whoever does this, you need to do background checks for whoever you may. If you're going to start a community patrol, you have background checks. You need to have it where you know exactly what kind of people you have in this thing, and to know that they're going to do exactly what they're supposed to do. You can even go deeper. You can even have an academy. There's academies out there for community watch people, where you can actually go to school and be certified in a community patrol and actually be in patrol vehicles. The lights, the police cars, the whole 9 yards, and doing patrol. Ron, I don't think they have anything like that in Monroe, do they? That's up in up north in your larger cities. They actually have that where it's called, matter of fact, I think it's called citizen patrol. It's where they're in regular police cars and they're on patrol. So there's a lot of different levels that can be done with this thing. But for Sterlington, I can tell you that the most important level that we have would be to take care of your neighborhood. If you see something that ain't right, report it. Another thing that we hear a lot, or I hear a lot, is I'll hear a story of something that happened 2 days or 3 days ago, and it wasn't called at the time they saw it. And I'll always ask them, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you call? Well, I didn't want to bother you. A lot of people believe that they're bothering the police if they call them. The The police is paid by our tax dollars. We employ the police. The police work for us. Us calling them, we're just calling one of our employees and say, hey, I've got a problem. I've got some suspicious activity. Can you please come check it out? If you call and you're treated in a demeaning fashion, talked down to, short with, then you go to the next step. You go to the supervisor. You don't let yourself be intimidated by the police because making you feel like you're a bother. You're not a bother. That's what we're here for. That's what we get paid for. I wouldn't want my mom to be scared to death to call the police because she's afraid that she's bothered. You call the police, no matter what. Now, granted, there can be some overreaches. We had a lady that would call us every time she saw somebody outside without a pair of shoes on, whether it be in the summer or the winter. And she felt like that was something that, as a community patrol, that she needed to notify the police department that someone was outside without shoes. We went and checked every time about someone didn't have shoes. We said, are you okay? They said, you don't have shoes on. So they would kind of sometimes look at us like we're crazy, but if it was cold weather, I think it's kind of, they were glad that we had concern for them. So there's never no call that's too small, and never no call that's not important. If it's important to you, if that sixth sense gut tells you something's wrong, go with it, call us, report it. Have a pen and paper with you at all times. Write down a license plate number. There's been several burglaries, I would imagine even in Monroe, all these big city areas, by a citizen given a license plate number. That license plate number could open up the window to several car burglaries, home burglaries, just a litany of crimes that could be solved just by one person taking down a license plate number from a vehicle that was somewhere that it shouldn't have been. And with that, Dr. Armstrong, I know that it's a very, very deep subject, and I just kind of scraped on it just a little bit.